I've been in the role for 13 years and I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And I think working with young people, not only do we never always get it right, we've got to accept we sometimes get it wrong, and there are no magic formulas.
Yeah.
And I sometimes say to a young person, I wish that there was a pill in a glass of water I could give you could take it, course of these pills, and in a week you would be okay. I think there are times with a young person that the authority figure role is called for. I mean, I can remember a young boy who produced, in fact, who did not produce at all, any form of decent apology letter or life project to explain why he offended, what his context was, why he was sorry, whatever he was going to do about it for the victim. And he seemed to treat it absolutely casually. And to be honest, I lost it a bit in court. I mean, I don't lose my temper, but I was annoyed that he just seemed to be playing the system and treating it with just casual indifference and making fools of us all. And I told him that. And I said, it's not on, and you're going to be remanded in custody, and you're going down to the police cells for the next 8 hours, and you'll be given paper and pens, and you will write exactly what you're capable of, and you won't be released until that is produced. And it will be good, and it will be meaningful, and you better get that message that this is a court. I looked around at the crest and said, we mean business here. You've hit the wall of the justice system, and you don't have the option to treat it in this way. Now, I thought maybe I'd overreacted, and I asked, when he left down to the cells, discussed it with the team. And they said, thank goodness somebody had said that to him, because you were dead right. And 8 hours later, he came up with a 6 to 8 page, beautifully written, fantastic statement of all the issues that we talked about. So he was capable of it. So there was time when that was required. I can remember a boy who had a serious cannabis dependency, committed several burglaries just for small-scale household electrical items he could sell to support his cannabis habit. And part of he'd admitted the charge at the family group conference. Part of the plan was he'd go to drug counselling.
Yep.
And he came back and he hadn't been. And I said, what's the story? He said, oh, it won't work. I said, well, you haven't been, have you? He said, oh, it's going to be hopeless. And I know it's going to be that I'll talk about it. He said, it's a big issue for him, but it's just not going to work. I won't do it. Well, I mean, I took a different approach there. I mean, how do I know if it's the right or wrong approach? I think, I actually said, have you read Green Eggs and Ham? And he said, yeah, I have, as a matter of fact. Because most drug-dependent boys are, they're quite intelligent. They're good at manipulating. They're good talkers. And he told me all about the story. He said the young Grinch tries to persuade the old Grinch to take green eggs and ham, and I do not like them here or there. I will not try them somewhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. And he said, and the old guy eventually tried them, and I said, what? And then the young boy said, I know what you're saying. If I go to the drug counselling course, I might just like it. I said, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. He said, no, I won't. So I said, if you go, I've never done this before or since. I said, if you go, I'll mark that with a present. Oh. And he wasn't stupid. He said, you're going to buy me green eggs and ham, aren't you? Actually, that was what was in my mind. So I made a note. And I said, if you go to 4, we'll come back in a month's time. So I came back in a month's time, and thank goodness the court clerk rang me to remind me as I rushed down from my chambers here. I stopped at Paper Plus, one final paperback copy of Green Eggs and Ham available, bought it, in faith inscribed in it, dear so-and-so, glad you've begun your journey, good things take time, keep it up. There's this part of the response that we need to get right, but well done. Came into court, boy came in, have you been to your counselling? He said, yeah. You been to them all? He said, yeah, I've been to all 4 as agreed. How was it? He said, well, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't fantastic, but it was quite good actually. There's a good guy taking it. We're talking well, so I'm going to go to 10 more. It's actually, no, it's okay, it's good. So I got out off the bench, went down and saw him, shook him by the hand, gave him the book. It was quite an emotional moment for him and for me. I wouldn't like to create the impression that judges extract compliance through the giving of gifts. I mean, what I'm really saying is that in every case with a young person, there's no, as far as I can see, there's no magic formula. I mean, we're dealing with a variety of young people in different circumstances, different developmentally, and it just instinctively in that one case seemed to be the, no, say right, it seemed the not inappropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
And I was sort of glad I did, but I haven't made it a habit of getting
No.
off the bench and doing those sorts of things. And you know, for every example I could give where things seem to have worked out well, because that boy completed his course, and to my knowledge hasn't reoffended.
Yeah.
And I think he's got to grips with the cannabis issue. But for every example I can give you, I've done some things that have gone spectacularly wrongly,